Saturday, April 5th, 0702 a.m. New York time. Welcome back, investors, to Winning Wall Street's Money. We just closed out another week, the first week of the new month, the second quarter of the year. Going to look at the currency markets, the broad currency markets, starting off with the US dollar index. I have posted content on that exclusively to my Patreon members. That's available right now. And then in this video, I'm also going to go a little bit broader on currencies. Like I mentioned, the US dollar, the major US currencies against the US dollar, as well as other pairs against those major currencies. We'll see how they're doing for the year-to-date performance. And to identify the leadership currencies that I've shared past several weeks that have been working out very well for investments. This is a chart of the US dollar index. This trades in the futures market. It trades on the ICE exchange futures markets. If you know, there's more than one futures exchange. There's more than two futures exchanges. This trades on the ICE. 5-year chart, each candle's a week. Look at the bottom left. That's the low for the year 2021. In the top center, the high of 2022. We're inside a range. And if you look at the past 2 years and add to this year, you see we're in a consolidation. Very close to the accumulation area, the green zone. This week, US dollar made a new low for the year. Right down here, on the far right. Deep retracement into this imbalance area and testing midpoint of that big green candle reversal. That reversal was the low of last year, the sweet spot for buying. It was a bullish engulfing, seller shut off, great entry, nice run up into the finishing term of the prior president, and popped up a little bit higher into the new year, and then reversed. Panic selling. So the US dollar index, being that it's an index, it's made up of several currencies. Again, to break down the weighted average of those are in the posts I just shared on my Patreon account for my subscribers. So since we have this big wick on this big red candle, we have buyers stepping over there. Some may be short-term, such as day trading. Some may be swing trading. Are not all necessary in the same mindset of being in the position. So that being said, some may have already closed their positions before the end of the weekend. May get a short pop to retest the high of this one here, the high of there, and maybe even a retracement up to here. On the downside, swing low, swing low. We haven't tested nor broken either one. So if we do break one of these, or both of them, well, then we have a clearer direction of going deeper to the downside. Some insight. The U.S. administration, from his advisors, the game plan is to weaken the U.S. dollar, to weaken the U.S. yields. Two parts. Again, typically when you lower interest rates, lower the yields, it weakens the nation's currency. The benefit is you hope it entices other countries to want to buy your products because it gives the other countries more buying power, making their currency more value against the US dollar. Again, they would want to have a need to buy US products or services if they're not manufacturing themselves or getting them from another country even cheaper. Lowering the US dollar, inverse, makes imports more expensive. Also, when expats live in other countries, they have less buying power with the US dollar. And people from the United States, when they go tours outside the United States, they have less buying power. Pros and cons, both ways. And the interest rates yields are on the other video I shared, which is doing very well for my position, my trade. Let's go on to the other currencies now, which I mentioned, the major currencies. These major currencies are against the US dollar. These are on the futures exchange, not the same, not the ICE. These are on the CME group exchange. That exchanges uses symbols that start with a forward slash. For currency, they all start with the number 6 followed by the letter. Different. So the first major currency, being the largest weighted currency in the US dollar, is the euro. 5-year chart, top left, there's the high. Bottom center, there's a low, inside a range. Look at the chart pattern, very similar to the US dollar index, but inverse, because again, it's the largest weighted currency in the US dollar. We made a new high for the year, just like the US dollar made a new low. Red zone, key level. And early this year, on the bottom right, we came down to the sweet spot right here. Nice bullish opportunity. Shared that several times weeks ago. Buying opportunities. We already had that set up way before. So one of us could do one of two things. You could either been bearish and trading short the US dollar index or trading bullish the euro US dollar. I showed the financial instruments that could be used for those. So now here, one would expect potential resistance up at these point swing highs. If we break these swing highs, expect further high to the next level, key level. Again, euro made a new high for the year and US dollar made a new low for the year. Next currency, Japanese yen, the second largest weighted currency in the US dollar. Look at the top left, the high, all the way back to 2021 and 2020. And the low was last year, the sweet spot. I'd shared this for buying opportunities because it was so low. And technically, the opportunity was good on the setup. So, how did it play out? Here's the low of last year. Here's the high of last year. We made reversals very strong. Swing point. Trend was going down. We never tested the swing point. It reversed. Nice bullish entries. This past week, the yen made a new high for the year. Buyers stepped in here, as well as sellers. Key level right there. British pound, the third largest weighted currency in the US dollar. Top left, the high, all the way from back 2021. The bottom center, the low of 2022. Huge consolidation, similar to the US dollar. Makes sense because I mentioned it's one of the 3 largest weighted average currencies in the US dollar. So notice these swing lows here. Green zone, swing lows, higher swing lows. Yep, buyers kept on coming down here. Accumulation area. That's why I have accumulation. Nice opportunity. It's made a new high for the year. It has not taken out the high of last year yet. See this big candlestick, bearish pin bar, huge wick. Yep. Again, expected what? Profiters. People that were bullish, expect them to take some profits here. Key levels reached. Let's go into the next currency. Australian dollar. Top left, the high for the past 5 years. This year made a new low. Big difference, right? New low for the year. Just like the US dollar made a new low, where we have the British pound, the euro making new highs for the year. Yeah, dollar, Australian dollar is performing worse than the other currencies against the US dollar. Australia is a huge commodity-based country. Difference on their exports, weighted average compared to other countries. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, yep. Big on commodities, the metals, and the energy. Canadian dollar, reversed, new high for the year. Right here in a sweet spot in that zone. Prior demand zone, broke below it, coming back to test what is now a support zone, supply zone, opportunity. Swiss franc, new high for the year. Yep, bottom, center, the low, and the high, center. Tight consolidation range here. Look at this. Key levels of swing points. This year it came down here in the key demand zone, accumulation. Nice. Worked out very real technically. And huge trading range this week to make that new high for the year. Right there, key level, midpoint of that red candle, sellers. Good candlestick charting, technical analysis. Worked out well for my charting. Nice. Mexican peso. Past 5 years, bottom left, the low. Last year was the high. Remember last year they also had elections. See, there was a divergency last year, high from the higher of 2023. And then huge whipsaws coming to the low of this year, which broke the low of last year. Yep, huge consolidation here. Again, huge trading range last year. Coming down here, more consolidation areas, big consolidation area. This may be the opportunity for accumulation. Really small trading ranges and building consolidation. Chinese yuan. Left, the low 2023, and the top left, the high 2022. Huge consolidation here. When this trends up, it's stronger US dollar. This is a Forex pair. That's why you see 6 letters with the forward slash in the middle. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, bottom left. This year was the high and then dumped. Distribution, smart money selling. And since then, yep, made that low of the year a few weeks ago. Consolidation here below that midpoint. Staircase pattern, lower low. Now we'll go into the major currency pairs against other ones to see how they're performing. First, we'll do the euro. So these are Forex pairs. That's a different financial exchange. And Forex exchange, 6 characters, 6 letters. We already did the euro US dollar. We saw the euro made a new high. Now let's look at the euro yen, which are the 2 largest weighted currencies in the US stock index. So when this trends up, it represents the euro gaining strength. Yep. Last year was the high and the low. And here we are right now inside this huge consolidation range, building energy. So if you're bullish the euro against the Japanese yen, you want to see this go higher. We see both against the US dollar have been going up. Let's see how the euro is doing against the other currencies. Euro, British pound, bottom right, made a new high. So the euro doing better than the pound here, making a new high. Euro, Canadian dollar, big difference. Yep. Again, euro's doing better than the Canadian dollar here. Euro, Swiss franc. Swiss franc being one of the safe haven currencies. So when this goes higher, it's benefiting the euro. Well, you can see here it's been declining, so Swiss franc doing better. Still inside the range of last year. And the euro, Australian dollar. Wow, new high for the year. Huge move. Again, this is the euro gaining against the Australian dollar. Makes sense. Much more diversification in the European EU economy compared to the Australian. So that was the euro. We've seen which one's a big difference. Let's go on to the next. Japanese yen. Yep, we saw the yen making new highs against the US dollar. We saw the yen euro, that the euro is doing better. Let's look at the yen British pound. So here, the first three letters British pound. So that means when this goes up, it's better for the British pound. Last year was the high. Last year was the low. Tight consolidation range here. Yep, we're still inside the range. Oops, need to fix that. Still inside the range of last year. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Japanese yen doing better. So as this declines, it's better for the Japanese yen. Swiss franc, Japanese yen, two safe haven currencies. When this goes up, it's in favor of the Swiss franc. Huge consolidation over this period of time from last year and this year. Building a lot of energy. And the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, two Pacific areas of the planet. And what do we have here? When you have the Australian dollar going lower, it's better for the Japanese yen. New low for the year. So that means the Japanese yen is doing better than the Australian dollar. Yep, Australian dollar is really getting taken down against many currencies. And we'll finish this off by the last major pairs against the British pound. So we already did the top three: British pound, US dollar, British pound yen, and euro British pound. Let's take it to the British pound, Canadian dollar. Yep, British pound doing better than Canadian dollar. Made a new high this year. Nice. British pound, Swiss franc. Swiss franc made it new low for this year. So that's getting beat down for the British pound. And British pound, Australian dollar, no surprise. British pound, new high for the year. Took out the high of 2020. Wow. Took long enough. Let's zoom out more. Let's put it back on 10 years. Yep. All the way back there in the year 2021. 2020. Finally broke that high. Like early access to my video, I have a Patreon page. The link's below. 8 subscribers. Thank you as always, spending just a little time with me. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for support, Patreon members.